100% off the strength, man.
Off the strength.
Can't get that off the strength.
Welcome back to Vulnerable City. Today's a good episode. I'm really excited because I have never had the opportunity to combine myself with another podcast that has the intentions. It's very similar to Vulnerable City, but still different, especially with the perspective. But I feel like listening to some of the episodes, I'm like, yeah, we're kind of in alignment. So I'm really excited to introduce Off the Strength podcast on Vulnerable City. So we've got Tony Vidal.
Hello, hello.
We've got Kyle Jones.
Hello.
And we've got Corey Harbison.
Peace.
We start off with asking, how are you for real? And it's literally taking a spin on how every day we ask each other, how you doing? You good? Great. But are we listening to what the person is actually saying? And are we giving space for the person to say how they're really feeling? So we go through this. We just say it once, since so many of us will just go through it once and just actually saying how you're really feeling. And we don't need to discuss it. We don't need to solve it. Because sometimes people feel like, oh, if I say how I'm doing really, then they'll get worried or they'll feel some kind of way. We don't do that here. We just want to give you the space to be open about the good, the bad, the ugly. It doesn't matter, but it's asking, how are you for real? So we'll go around and we'll start with Tony and we'll just go. So Tony,
yes,
how
love.
are you for real?
Well, first of all, thank you for having us on the show. I would say I am really feeling today okay. Next to feeling good, but not quite there. So I'll stick with okay for today.
Okay, feeling okay. All right, lovely. Tony, no, Kyle. I'm gonna get the names.
Tono Kyle.
I'm not good at names, but I will remember that. Kyle, please.
Well, thank you for having us, as Tony said, for sure. As far as me, I think I am somewhere feeling balanced just between the weight of the world and between my own happiness. So just trying to find that, in between path. So I think that's kind of where I'm at right now.
Awesome. Thank you. Corey?
I feel replenished. I just saw my parents. So I got that mom hug. That always hits different. So I feel real replenished. I feel good.
Definitely.
Yeah.
All right. Cool. So me, how am I for real? I'm tired, but excited. I think that's always a good place to sit in. And I've learned that rest is always the key part after you feel this excitement about life. And I just did a photo shoot for some merch and I got really excited. And then I'm like, all right, you on the ball now. Keep going. And then a part of me was like, keep going where? Why don't you just rest? Why don't you take in what just happened? Why don't you process it? And I'll actually allow it to hit you instead of feeling like productivity means one after the other. So I feel excited and tired, and I'm excited to be at an age where I can get off the productivity treadmill and trust that I can still get back on it and get stuff done. I don't need to keep going in order to feel worthy. That's a lot for one, but that's how I'm feeling for real. I kind of want to ask everybody a little bit of the history of why does Off the Strength exist? Where did it come from? Whose idea was it? And why is it still going? What is the heartbeat behind it that it's still happening after all this time? So anybody can take it. Why Off the Strength?
Yeah, I'll lean into that, Katie. I'd say my first podcast started in 2013. It's called Fitness on Smash. And I have to shout out to everybody who was a part of that. I have a history of doing some things that are entirely too early, Katie. The long lens of every failure that I learned in 2013 manifested to what I knew was going to be needed when we started this about 3 years ago or so, guys.
Yes, sir.
So I knew that conversations in wellness were bigger than what we do.
Yeah.
I'm not just a trainer, even though ironically I call myself a trainer called Tony.
Yeah.
This brother's not just a yoga instructor. This brother's not just a strength and conditioning coach, right? We are fully formed individuals outside of the tasks that we perform for people. And we bring value to high value individuals. That's an important conversation because it's a conversation that really, for me, has been an exploration through what my value to multiple systems could be and what realistically what I can have access to in the world. This is one of the best versions of networking that I've ever done, is being a trainer. If I could tell somebody that is the CEO of a Fortune 500 company how to live his life and give him true value, what can I do for my own community, right? And then the other side to that is, well, when we're finished working with all the clients and stuff like that, high net worth individuals, what do we sound like when we're in the back, in the lounge, talking about, real stuff, so to speak, right? And I don't know if you have vulgarities on your shows,
We do.
I'm trying to be alert to that side, but in that direction, we talk about real shit.
Yeah.
We're in the back room and we talk about, what we were going through. We get to look through a door that is of opulence, but I'm coming from a space that is not that world. So what happens when these spaces collide? And what really happens when, we get all these different people who are the exciters, the motivators, and the artists in this industry, when they have to talk about themselves in an honest way and show up for themselves. And these brothers here, I would say, are a part of a gradient of a story that we were talking about from the male guys specifically. So Kyle is younger than me. I sit in the middle between where Corey is.
I'm the ancient one.
On
Wise,
paper,
wise.
the wise, right? On paper, people would write it off as we do exactly the same thing. But when you hear the way that I approach a situation, the way Kyle or the way Brother Corey is, you'll hear different circles of genius come across.
Yeah.
You'll hear these brothers' experiences. And I know the value in learning from communities like the ones that we have formed together.
Yeah.
That's an important conversation to have. That's not just a conversation that's beneficial for people who are of this ilk. It's beneficial for everybody who would have been fans of us anyway. So I took the galvanizers. I said, what's real when we stop doing just the thing that is the function that I'm serving?
Yeah.
And how can we really take that value and transition that value to doing some of the other maker series that you see out on the market?
That's awesome. I loved how you talked about high value people. Or, like when you say that, what comes to mind? Because that's kind of, I have a specific idea, but I think about quantifying or qualifying someone who's considered high value. What do you mean by that?
Yeah, I'd say historically that was a net worth conversation, but now I say it's a salt of the earth conversation. At one point in time, it was a radical thought for me to come across a singular billionaire.
Yeah,
I can tell you that I know a few of them.
Oh, cool.
I could tell you that I don't think any of them are better than me. And I could tell you that after I realized none of them are better than me, my value had to change.
Awesome. Thank you. So what keeps you going to come back every week and do an episode? What about it like sparks and makes you feel like, yeah, I'm not going to quit it. I feel good on whatever days, your Fridays, right? Why come back? What about this podcast fuels you?
For me, I think much like what Tony said, I think about the Dave Chappelle skit when he was like, how would Dave react to this at 24 and then at 30 and then
That's
Dave
us.
at 30? Like that's kind of how I see our relationship and our bond. Different factions of the same person at some point in life, just kind of crossing paths. But for me, specifically, I would say what keeps me coming back would be I realize that I have an influential presence. I have the ability to make people want to do something. That's a gift. That's not even like something small. So that's not even necessarily me being cocky, but just realizing that, hey, if I put this on, somebody's going to ask me where I got it and they're going to want it. Or if I post a video of me doing this one thing, somebody probably wants to do this too. So Brother Tony always talks about, never falling victim to just being the smartest person in the room, right? I never wanted to fall victim to just being the cool guy. Like if I'm the cool guy, you can see it and I can see it, then why can't I influence you to do something cool, which I personally feel is wellness, like in the full gamut. So my mental health, my spiritual health, my physical health are all connected. If I can get someone to fantasize about the life that I live so that they can live the life that they want to live, my job is done. Right. So that's why I come here every week. And that's why we talk on these microphones, to hopefully get somebody to break down a fear that they once had, or try something new, or be like, you know what? I would have never did that, but the way Kyle just did that, I might try it now. So that's what kind of keeps me going.
Dope. Thank you, John.